I should have known this was coming. In fact, I did know. The second I received the invitation to my brother Nathan's wedding, I felt the familiar weight settle on my chest. It wasn't an invitation, it was a summons. A carefully crafted script where everyone had a role, where Nathan was the golden child, and I was the family disgrace. But I came anyway. Not out of hope. Not because I longed to be accepted. Not even because I wanted to support my brother. I came because I had a plan. But before we get to that, let me tell you how we got here. I walk into the Grand Belmont Ballroom, one of the most luxurious event spaces in the city. A crystal chandelier dangles from the ceiling like an elaborate reminder of just how much wealth my family wields. Tables are lined with golden plates, white flowers, and the finest wine money can buy. Everything is extravagant, excessive, exactly what Nathan and my parents, Charles and Rebecca, live for. I take a slow breath, steadying myself. I don't belong here. I never have. Ryan. The voice cuts through the air like a blade. I turn to see my mother, Rebecca, standing near the entrance. Her gold-sequined gown hugs her thin frame, her hair styled to perfection, not a strand out of place. She looks me over, her lips pressing into a thin line. "You could have dressed up a little more," she says, her tone laced with disappointment. I glance down at my navy blue suit, modest, neat, nothing flashy. "Didn't realize there was a dress code," I reply, keeping my voice neutral. She hums, a sound of disapproval. "Well, at least you showed up. Try not to make a scene." With that, she turns and disappears into the crowd. Try not to make a scene. It's funny, really. As if I've ever been the one causing problems. As if I've ever been the one looking for attention. I navigate through the sea of socialites, investors, and family friends, exchanging half-hearted nods and forced smiles. I know exactly why I was invited. To be paraded as a cautionary tale. The black sheep. The disgrace. And soon, they'll make sure everyone remembers that. I reach table 14, tucked far from the main family table, surrounded by distant relatives and acquaintances. A strategic placement. Keep me out of sight. Keep me out of mind. A waiter fills my glass with champagne. I grip the stem, letting the coolness settle in my fingers. Then, the lights dim. The music fades. A spotlight shines on the giant screen at the front of the ballroom. Nathan stands up from the head table, microphone in hand. He's beaming, his tuxedo crisp, his smile as rehearsed as ever. "Thank you all for being here tonight," he begins, his voice smooth, charming. "It means the world to have our closest friends and family celebrate this special day with us. And as a treat, I've put together a little presentation, some memories, some laughs, some love." Applause. Excitement. I take a slow sip of my drink. I know where this is going. The screen flickers to life. First, there are pictures of Nathan and his new bride, Julia. Their relationship, their travels, their achievements. The crowd oohs and ahs at every frame. Then, pictures of Nathan and our parents. Nathan's first baseball game. Nathan graduating from Harvard. Nathan at his first real estate deal. Nathan shaking hands with business moguls. Nathan, Nathan, Nathan. Always the golden boy. And then, the slideshow changes. A picture of me appears on the screen. The caption beneath it is bold, unmistakable. Infertile, divorced failure, high school dropout, low income, single. For a moment, the room is silent. Then laughter. A wave of cruel, uncontrollable laughter. Nathan grins, eating it up. "Come on, don't laugh too hard," he says, his voice dripping with mockery. He might cry. My mother sips her wine. My father, Charles, chuckles. And my ex-wife, Olivia, smirks. The laughter rolls through the crowd like a storm. I hear snickers from distant cousins. A whispered pathetic from an old family friend. Someone clinking their glass in mock celebration. I sit there still, silent. My fingers tighten around my phone. Not yet, Ryan. Not yet. I can feel eyes on me. Watching. Waiting for a reaction. Waiting for me to break. Waiting for me to confirm everything they've ever said about me. But I don't break. Because what they don't know is that this is exactly what I was counting on. Nathan keeps talking, but I barely hear him. His words blend into the background noise of my pounding heart, the static in my veins. I glance at the screen one last time, committing the image to memory. And then, I take out my phone. I press a button. My voice is calm. Even. Begin. The room goes silent. It happens almost immediately. The screen flickers, glitches. The slideshow stops. And then, a new image takes its place. Bold white letters fill the screen, glowing under the spotlight. Breaking free live. The reality of emotional abuse by family. The laughter dies instantly. Confusion sweeps through the room like a cold wind. I watch as my mother lowers her wine glass. My father stiffens. Olivia frowns. Nathan's confident smile falters. People begin whispering, shifting uncomfortably in their seats. And then, a notification pops up in the corner of the screen. Live viewers, 200, 000, 400, 000, 600, 000. The numbers climb rapidly. And then, a message appears, bold and unmistakable. A comment from Olivia's fiancé. The evidence is gathered. The legal team is standing by. You are not alone anymore. I look up, meeting Nathan's stunned gaze. For the first time in my life, I see it. Fear. Real, undeniable fear. I exhale steady and slow. Let's begin, shall we? And just like that, the power shifts. For the first time in my life, I hold the mic. The irony is, for years, they thought I was nothing. And maybe, at one point, I believed it too. After all, when the people who are supposed to love you constantly remind you of your failures, it's easy to start believing them. It's easy to accept that maybe you are the worthless, weak, good-for-nothing disappointment they say you are. For a long time, I let their words define me. I let Nathan's success overshadow me. I let my father's disapproval shape me. I let my mother's cold indifference break me. And worst of all, I let Olivia betray me, take everything, and still convince me it was somehow my fault. But not anymore. Because what they don't know, what they never even bothered to ask about, is that I stopped being the failure they painted me as a long time ago. And tonight, they're about to learn exactly who I've become. The life they never knew. To my family, I am a low-income, divorced office clerk barely scraping by in a dead-end job. That's the version of me they chose to believe. But in reality, I run Breaking Free, a global online community dedicated to emotional abuse survivors. What started as a simple anonymous blog 3 years ago has grown into a YouTube channel with millions of followers, a nonprofit organization with real-world impact, and an entire movement helping people escape toxic environments, just like the one I grew up in. And they have no idea. My father, Charles Carter, built his real estate empire from the ground up. My mother, Rebecca Carter, cemented herself in high society as a woman of grace and influence. My brother, Nathan Carter, followed in their footsteps, Harvard-educated, wealthy, engaged to a woman from another powerful family. They are the perfect Carter family. And I am the stain. They never once asked about my life. They never once wondered what I was doing with my time. They never once checked to see if I had something of value to offer the world. And because they never cared to know, they never saw what I was building. They never saw the thousands of survivors who found strength through my videos. They never saw the letters I received from people who left abusive households because of my guidance. They never saw the conference stages I stood on, speaking about emotional resilience. They never saw the best-selling book I published under a pseudonym, the one that became a lifeline for so many who had been told, just like me, that they were nothing. They never saw me. And tonight, for the first time, they're about to see me in a way they never have before. The plan I've been waiting to unleash. I didn't just walk into this wedding reception unprepared. I spent 2 years gathering evidence, recordings, emails, financial statements, all of it. I worked with lawyers, therapists, and experts in emotional abuse to build a solid case. I connected with people from my online community, many of whom knew this exact kind of pain, many of whom were watching me live right now. I didn't just come here to take a stand. I came here to win. And as I glance down at my phone screen, watching the viewer count skyrocket, I feel something I haven't felt in years. Power. Not the kind that comes from money, status, or manipulation, the kind my family worships, but the kind that comes from knowing your truth, from standing in your own strength, from no longer being afraid. The first signs of panic. The shift in energy is palpable. People are staring at the giant screen behind Nathan, trying to understand what's happening. I see my father's jaw tighten, his fingers gripping his glass of scotch. I see my mother's posture stiffen, her eyes darting toward my phone as if she already knows this is my doing. I see Nathan's grin fade, confusion flickering across his face before something else takes its place, unease. And then, the first message pops up on the screen. Live viewers, 850,000. 1 million. 1.2 million. Gasps ripple through the room. I hear whispers. What the hell is this? Why is this broadcasting live? But I'm not looking at them. I'm looking at Olivia. She's staring at the screen now, her expression unreadable. And then she sees it. The notification. A comment, highlighted in bold, from her fiancé. The evidence is gathered. The legal team is standing by. You are not alone anymore. Her face drains of color so fast I think she might faint. I tilt my head slightly, watching her reaction. She turns toward me, lips slightly parted. Ryan, what did you do? I don't respond. I simply raise my glass in a slow, deliberate toast. And then, for the first time all night, I smile. The truth will be heard. The murmurs grow louder. People are pulling out their phones, watching the live stream unfold in real time. The screen flickers, and a new message appears. Welcome to Breaking Free Live, the reality of emotional abuse by family. Nathan, still clutching the microphone, finally speaks. What the hell is going on? His voice isn't as confident anymore. I lean forward slightly, tapping my fingers against my champagne glass. I thought you liked presentations, Nathan, I say casually. You worked so hard to humiliate me with yours. I figured it was only fair I show the audience a different side of our family. His face hardens. This isn't funny, Ryan. I arch an eyebrow. Oh, I agree. It's not funny at all. I glance at the screen. Then, with a single tap on my phone, I start the first recording. The beginning of the end. He's just weak. He never had what it takes to be a Carter. We should have cut him off years ago. The voice booms through the venue speakers. Charles Carter's voice. My father. The room goes deathly silent. I take my time watching their reactions. Rebecca's hand tightens around her wine glass. Nathan's fingers curl around the microphone, his knuckles turning white. Olivia flinches. My father. Oh, my father finally looks worried. The silence stretches. Then I press play on the next recording. Ryan is a disappointment. He's infertile. He's weak. He's a failure. I don't even know why we still invite him to family events. Nathan's voice. I turn to him, watching the sweat bead on his forehead. You were saying? I ask. Nathan takes a step toward me, his voice low, dangerous. Turn it off. Now. I tilt my head. Why? Are you ashamed? You weren't ashamed when you said it. He lunges for me. But I don't move. Because I don't have to. Not when I have 1.5 million people watching. Not when I hold all the power now. And as I look around the room, at the cracks forming in their perfect world, I know one thing for certain. They will never silence me again. I always wondered what it would feel like to hold the power in this family. To sit in a room full of people who spent their lives belittling me, ignoring me, and dismissing me, and watch their world shatter in real time. Now I know. And let me tell you, it feels incredible. The room falls apart. The second my father's voice blares through the speakers, the energy in the ballroom shifts. I watch it unfold like a slow-motion car crash. Nathan's expression darkens, his confident smirk replaced by something else, something dangerously close to fear. My mother, Rebecca, stiffens, her hand frozen midair as she sets down her wine glass. Olivia is gripping the tablecloth so tightly her knuckles have turned white. And my father, the great Charles Carter, the man who always controls the room, looks like he's about to be sick. The guests are murmuring now. I hear scattered whispers. What the hell is this? Did Charles really say that? Are we being recorded? My phone buzzes in my palm. The live stream counter surges. 1.6 million viewers. 1.7 million. 2 million. This isn't just a scandal. This is a public execution. And I'm the one holding the blade. Nathan's panic sets in. Nathan slams his microphone down and storms toward me, his expensive wedding tuxedo wrinkling with every frantic step. Ryan. His voice is raw with rage. Turn that off. I look at him, tilting my head slightly, like I'm genuinely considering it. Then I smirk. Why? Feeling exposed. His jaw clenches. You don't know what you're doing. I lean back in my chair, tapping my fingers lazily against my phone. Oh, I know exactly what I'm doing, little brother. I'm just wondering how long you can keep up the act before the bride walks out. That does it. Nathan lunges for me. But I don't move. Because I don't need to. Security gets to him before he reaches me. Two men in sleek black suits grab him by the arms, stopping him mid-charge. You're embarrassing yourself, Nathan. I say, keeping my voice steady. That's my job, remember? The crowd erupts in scattered gasps. Nathan struggles against the guards, his face red with rage. You smug little. I press another button, and the next recording begins. Rebecca Carter's cold truth. Ryan was a mistake. It's my mother's voice this time. Rebecca Carter. The woman who spent her whole life curating the perfect image, the perfect family, the perfect lies, is suddenly the center of attention in the worst way possible. We should have never had him. He's nothing like Nathan. Nathan is strong. Nathan is successful. Ryan is just pathetic. The room erupts into chaos. I hear someone drop their glass. A sharp shattering sound follows. A few guests gasp, others stare at my mother in horror. But the best reaction? Julia, Nathan's bride-to-be. Her jaw is clenched. Her hands are trembling at her sides. She turns to my mother, voice deadly calm. You said that about your own son? Rebecca blinks rapidly, her breath shaky. That was taken out of context. Oh, it gets better, I interrupt. Let's hear what she said about Julia, shall we? Rebecca snaps her head toward me. Ryan, don't you dare. I press play. The bride learns the truth. I don't care about that girl. She's just a pretty little pawn for Nathan to marry. A social climb. The silence is deafening. Julia stares at the screen, then at Nathan, then at Rebecca. Her hands are shaking. You used me, she whispers. Nathan shakes his head, reaching for her. Baby, no. She's twisting it. Julia slaps his hand away. The crowd erupts again. Are you serious right now? She hisses. Your entire family treats people like disposable pawns, and you expect me to just go along with it. Nathan is visibly sweating. It's not like that. It is exactly like that. I cut in. Welcome to the Carter family, Julia. If you think they actually care about you, you're more naive than I thought. She takes a step back from him. You're a fraud, Nathan, she breathes. And your family is disgusting. She rips off her engagement ring and throws it at his chest. I'm done. The ring clatters onto the floor. Nathan stands frozen, stunned. And the wedding? Over. Charles Carter falls. I barely have time to enjoy the moment before my father finally snaps. Enough. Charles roars, slamming his hands onto the table. The entire ballroom flinches. He glares at me, his face red, his eyes burning with pure hatred. You think this makes you powerful? He seethes. You think ruining your family's reputation makes you a man? I look him dead in the eye. No, I say, voice steady. I think surviving you made me a man. The guests are no longer whispering. They are watching, waiting. I stand up from my chair. Then I press one final button. The final blow. Charles Carter has been under investigation for financial fraud for the past 6 months. The room erupts into chaos. I can barely hear over the collective gasps, the murmurs, the panic. On the screen, emails, transactions, and leaked documents flood in, evidence of my father's illegal dealings. My father's face turns a sickening shade of pale. The last time I saw him look this terrified, I was 10 years old, clutching a school report card with a single B+ on it. He had called me useless, a disgrace, a stain on the Carter name. Now he's the disgrace. Now he's the failure. And I'm just getting started. The aftermath begins. The wedding is officially ruined. Nathan's fiancée has walked out. My mother is humiliated beyond repair. My father is facing legal and financial collapse. And me? I'm walking out of this ballroom with my head held high. I glance down at my phone one last time. 2.5 million viewers. That's 2.5 million people who finally know the truth. I exhale slowly, feeling something I never thought I'd feel. Relief. For the first time in my life, I am not the failure. For the first time in my life, I am free. And as I turn to leave, my father shouts after me. One last attempt to control me. Ryan, if you walk out that door, you're dead to this family. I pause. Then, without turning around, I say the words I should have said years ago. I was dead to you a long time ago. And with that, I step into the night, never looking back. I walk away from the wreckage of my brother's wedding reception, but I'm not done. Not yet. Destroying the illusion of my family's perfection was only step one. Now it's time for something else. Justice. For years, they have mocked me, humiliated me, and discarded me like I was nothing more than an afterthought. Tonight, I make sure they never forget my name. The calm before the storm. The ballroom is in chaos. Nathan is standing alone, his tuxedo wrinkled, his ex-fiancée's engagement ring still lying on the floor where she threw it. My father, Charles, is red-faced and seething, barely keeping himself together as his business associates begin to step away from him. My mother, Rebecca, has her hand over her mouth, eyes darting around the room, looking for an escape. I could walk away now. I could let the damage settle, let them spend the next weeks trying to piece their shattered reputations back together. But that wouldn't be enough. Because there's one last lie that still needs to be unraveled. And I know exactly how to do it. I turn around, stepping back into the ballroom. The murmurs die instantly as I reappear. Nathan sees me first. His face twists with hatred, but there's something else in his eyes now. Fear. Good. I walk back toward my seat, pick up my champagne glass, and take a slow sip before I speak. Now that we've taken a little intermission, I say, voice steady, let's get to the main event. Nobody moves. I press a button on my phone, and the next recording begins. Olivia's dirty secret. I never loved Ryan. He was just convenient. The room goes completely silent. I don't even need to look to know that Olivia, my ex-wife, has just gone pale. The recording continues. I mean, come on. He's infertile. He's weak. I needed a man who could actually give me a future. Someone like Nathan. Gasps ripple through the guests. I turn to my brother, and I smile. You know, I say, swirling the champagne in my glass. I always wondered why Olivia seemed so comfortable at our family gatherings. Nathan stiffens. His eyes dart to Olivia. My mother inhales sharply. My father? His expression hardens, but he doesn't say a word. Because he knows. The betrayal wasn't just my wife. It was all of them. The next message pops up on the screen. A text conversation between Olivia and Nathan. Olivia, I hate sneaking around, baby. I wish we didn't have to hide it. Nathan, just hold on a little longer. Ryan will break soon. He's too weak to fight back. Olivia, I don't even care if he finds out. He's pathetic. He'll just blame himself like always. Nathan, I know. That's why it's so easy. I let the words sink in. Let the reality settle over the room like a heavy fog. My mother shakily lowers her wine glass. My father finally speaks. You slept with your brother's wife? His voice is low. Dangerous. Nathan opens his mouth, but no words come out. And Olivia? She looks like she wants to vanish. The final blow. I should feel pain. I should feel betrayed. But the truth is, I've known for a while. I just wanted to hear them admit it. I lean forward, resting my arms on the table. So tell me, I say casually, was it worth it? Nathan finally snaps. This is ridiculous, he shouts. You're just trying to ruin my life because you're jealous. Jealous? I repeat, raising an eyebrow. Of what? Your failed engagement? Your crumbling reputation? Your fraud business? Nathan slams his fists on the table. You don't deserve to be here, he snarls. You've always been pathetic. You're nothing. You'll always be nothing. I smirk. And then I play the last recording. The lie about my infertility. Ryan isn't infertile. Silence. A slow, building silence as the words register. The doctors said he was fine, but we had to make sure people saw Nathan as the stronger one. Ryan could never be allowed to be an equal. It had to be Nathan. It was always Nathan. It's my father's voice. I turn to Charles, watching as his entire world crumbles. And for the first time ever, he has nothing to say. My mother looks physically ill. Nathan? He looks like he might pass out. The guests are no longer just murmuring. They are staring at the Carters like they are something rotten, something grotesque. Because they are. Breaking the final chains. I take another sip of champagne. And then, I finally stand up. For years, I say, voice steady, you told me I was a failure. I gesture toward the guests. You told everyone that I was the disgrace of this family. I look at my father. That I wasn't strong enough. I turn to my mother. That I wasn't worth loving. I lock eyes with Nathan. That I wasn't even a real man. Then I smirk. And yet, here we are. I point at the screen, the evidence, the truth. Tell me, Nathan, who's the failure now? The aftermath. Olivia grabs her purse and bolts. Nathan stumbles back, staring at the ground. My mother wipes her hands over her face, silent for once in her life. My father? He just sits there, beaten, defeated. And I walk toward the exit. Not as the failure, not as the outcast, but as the man who finally set himself free. I step outside, inhale the cold night air, and let the past slip off my shoulders like a heavy coat. For the first time, I don't carry their words with me. For the first time, I am truly free. And as I look at my phone, watching the viewer count climb past 3 million, I smile. Because this time, The whole world finally knows the truth. I should be done. I should walk away, let the weight of their shame collapse on them like an avalanche, and disappear into the night. But there's one last lie that needs to be burned to the ground before I leave this place for good. The biggest lie of all. The one they use to humiliate me, belittle me, make me feel less than a man. My supposed infertility. And now, with the entire room in shambles, my mother in silent shock, my father completely paralyzed, and my brother standing alone in the ruins of his wedding, I finally deliver the final truth. And this one is going to sting. A lifetime of lies. For years, they weaponized it against me. Ryan can't even give his wife a child. What's the point of a man like that? No wonder Olivia left him. What kind of woman would stay with a broken man? It's a shame. It's a stain on our family's name. Over and over, they said it. Whispered it at family gatherings. Let it slip at public events. Threw it in my face whenever they wanted to remind me how much of a failure I was. They made me believe it. And I let them. Because when you grow up in a house where your voice means nothing, where you are always the mistake, the afterthought, the lesser one, you stop questioning what they tell you. You just accept it as fact. Until one day, you don't. Until one day, you wake up, get tested, and find out the truth. Until one day, you realize they were lying the entire time. And not just lying. They were hiding the real truth. The truth comes out. I step forward, letting the tension in the room build. The screen behind me flashes with the next document. A medical report. The heading is bold, crisp, impossible to ignore. Patient, Ryan Carter. Fertility assessment. Results. No issues detected. Silence. Deep, suffocating silence. Then, slowly, I turn toward Nathan. And I smile. Now, this is interesting. I say, my voice calm, controlled. Because according to this, I'm perfectly fine. Nathan's expression barely changes. But his eyes flicker with something raw. Fear. Guilt. Because he knows what's coming next. And so do I. The real infertile one. I turn back to the screen, pressing a button on my phone. A second document appears. Another fertility test. But this one, it's not mine. It belongs to Nathan. The heading is just as bold, just as impossible to ignore. Patient, Nathan Carter. Fertility assessment. Results. Severe infertility detected. I swear, you could hear a pin drop in that room. Nathan freezes. The guests? They're staring. Whispering. My father? He's gripping the table, his face ghostly pale. And my mother? For the first time tonight, Rebecca Carter looks truly horrified. I let the weight of it settle in. Let them soak in the fact that the very thing they mocked me for, the very thing they used to destroy me, was never mine to carry. It was Nathan's. Nathan snaps. Nathan lunges forward. You bastard, he snarls, knocking over a champagne glass as he reaches for me. The crowd gasps. I don't move. I don't flinch. I just watch him come apart at the seams, his whole life unraveling right in front of him. He doesn't make it far. Security grabs him again, holding him back as he thrashes like a rabid dog. Ryan. His voice is hoarse, desperate. You don't understand. This is private. Private. I raise an eyebrow. You mean like how my infertility was private before you and Mom turned it into a dinner table joke? You don't get it. Nathan's eyes are wide, wild with panic. I had no choice. He cuts himself off, chest heaving. And that's when it hits me. Nathan didn't just know. He was forced to live the lie. I glance at my father, who won't even look at me. Then at my mother, whose lips are pressed into a thin, bloodless line. And suddenly, it all makes sense. The burden of being the golden son. They built Nathan up to be the perfect Carter son. The heir. The successful one. The one who would carry on the legacy. And infertility? That was not part of the plan. So what did they do? They switched it. They let me be the failure so Nathan wouldn't have to be. They threw me under the bus, dragged my name through the mud, ruined my reputation. Just so Nathan could stay on his pedestal. I exhale slowly, shaking my head. Wow. I say, my voice thick with mock admiration. You really are pathetic. Nathan yanks against the guards again. Shut up, Ryan. You let them use me. I say, letting my words slice through him. You let them humiliate me, ruin my marriage, make me feel like I was less than a man. And for what? So you could keep pretending? Nathan's face twists in rage. You don't know what it was like. I laugh, a short, bitter sound. I know exactly what it was like, Nathan. You were their golden son. You had everything. And instead of standing up for me, you let them break me. He stills, chest heaving. You let them break me, I repeat. And now look at you. You're standing here, in the ruins of your wedding, your business crumbling, your fiancé gone, and the world watching as the truth comes out. His hands shake. His whole body shakes. You destroyed me first, I tell him, voice low. And I survived it. But you won't. And with that, I let him go. I turn away from him, from my mother's hollow silence, from my father's useless rage. And I step off the stage. The damage is done. I can hear the murmurs growing louder. People are already posting, sharing, talking. I look at my phone. Live viewers, for million. A notification pops up. Breaking news. Scandal erupts at Carter wedding. Family secrets exposed in viral live broadcast. I smirk. Good. Let the world see. Let them all see. Because for years, I was forced to believe I was the weak one. The worthless one. The failure. But now they know the truth. And it's too late to silence me. It starts slowly. The unraveling. Like a single thread being pulled from an expensive suit, barely noticeable at first, until suddenly, the entire thing is falling apart at the seams. And the best part? They don't even realize just how much damage has already been done. Not yet. But they will. The first cracks appear. Nathan is still thrashing against the security guards, his face a mess of rage and desperation. My mother, Rebecca, is motionless in her chair, eyes vacant, like she's watching her whole world collapse in real time. My father, Charles, he's still trying to control the situation, still gripping onto the illusion of power, the same way he's always held on to his money, his influence, his name. But the illusion is already shattering. I watch as he leans in to whisper something to one of his business partners, Mark Calloway, the CEO of a multi-million-dollar development firm. Mark, who once praised my father as a business genius, doesn't even acknowledge him, doesn't even look at him. Instead, he mutters something to his wife and stands up. And just like that, he walks out. Nathan sees it. His entire body stiffens. Then another man stands. Then another. One by one, the business partners, the investors, the executives who once circled my father like vultures waiting for scraps, are leaving. And Charles Carter is left clutching nothing but the remnants of his reputation. I check my phone. Breaking news. The Carter empire is falling. I smile. Because this is exactly what I planned for. Nathan's last stand. Nathan finally breaks free from the guards. He spins toward my father, voice wild with desperation. Dad, he chokes out. Say something. Do something. Charles doesn't answer. Because what can he say? That he can fix this? That he can buy his way out of a scandal that has already reached millions of people? No, not this time. Nathan's panic turns into fury. He rounds on me, pointing a trembling finger. This is your fault, he spits. I tilt my head. Really? You ruined my wedding. My reputation. My entire life. I take a slow sip of my champagne, enjoying every second of his meltdown. No, Nathan, I say, setting my glass down. You did that to yourself. His hands curl into fists. You think you're better than me? I lean forward slightly, lowering my voice so only he can hear. I don't think, Nathan, I whisper. I know. His face twists. He looks like he wants to lunge at me again. But there's nothing left to fight for. Nothing left to protect. Because his entire kingdom is already burning. The final nail in the coffin. A notification pops up on the ballroom screen. Another news alert. SEC investigation launched into Carter Properties. Fraud allegations emerge amidst scandal. The crowd erupts and whispers. My father slams his hand against the table. This is ridiculous, he barks. There's no investigation. I let out a small chuckle. Not yet, I say. Charles whirls on me, his face twisted with rage. You did this. I shrug. Let's just say, I provided some very interesting documents to the right people. Nathan goes rigid. What documents? The screen flashes again. Emails. Bank transfers. Proof of embezzlement. Tax fraud. Bribery. Every dirty deal my father thought he had buried. And now the whole world can see. The walls close in. My father sinks back into his chair. He finally understands. It's over. Nathan's breath is coming out in short, panicked gasps. He grabs my mother's arm. Mom, say something. Fix this. But Rebecca Carter is gone. Not physically, but in every other way that matters. She is staring at the screen. Asterisk asterisk at the undeniable truth about her perfect family. Asterisk asterisk, and she is silent. Because she knows there's nothing left to say. Nothing left to fix. Nothing left to salvage. The business is dead. I stand up, sliding my hands into my pockets. You had everything, I say to Nathan. Power, wealth, privilege. And yet, here you are. With nothing. Nathan shakes his head violently. This isn't happening. This isn't. It is, I interrupt, voice steady. And no amount of lies can change that. He stumbles back, his entire body trembling. And then he bolts. Right out of the ballroom. Right into the night. Leaving behind nothing but his father's ruined empire. I glance at Charles one last time. He doesn't look at me. Doesn't say a word. Because he knows. He finally knows. He lost. And I won. The world watches it burn. I step out of the ballroom, into the crisp night air. I pull out my phone. Check the live stream. 5.2 million viewers. 5.4 million. 5.6 million. The world is watching this empire fall. And I have never felt more free. Because for years, they tried to break me. They tried to ruin me. But tonight, I showed them who I really am. And I will never be silenced again. The air outside the ballroom is cool against my skin. Fresh. Liberating. Like the first breath after being trapped underwater for far too long. Behind me, the empire that once ruled over me crumbles. Inside, my father sits frozen, his carefully built real estate dynasty shattered in front of the entire world. Nathan, my brother, the golden son, has fled into the night, no longer the untouchable heir, no longer the family's shining example. And my mother? Silent. Because for the first time in her life, she has nothing left to say. But me? I stand tall. Because after years of humiliation, lies, and exile from my own family, I have won. And the best part? This is only the beginning. The aftermath begins. My phone buzzes. A new notification. 6 million live viewers. That's 6 million people who just witnessed my family's fall from grace in real time. I let out a slow breath, watching the numbers tick up. I never planned for this to go so viral, but I should have known. People love a scandal, especially when it's about a powerful, untouchable family falling to pieces. And right now, the Carter name is front page news. Another buzz. This time a call. I glance at the screen. David Reed, a longtime friend, an attorney specializing in corporate fraud cases. I answer. Ryan, he greets, his voice smooth and calm. I assume you've seen the news? I have. I reply, walking toward my car. Good, because I have some updates. I smirk. Let me guess. The feds are interested in dear old dad. David chuckles. Oh, they're more than interested. They're moving forward. The documents you provided were airtight. There's no way out of this. I lean against my car, watching the ballroom entrance from a distance. How long before the hammer drops? I ask. A week, maybe less, David answers. But honestly, he won't even need an arrest to ruin him. His business partners are already cutting ties. Stocks for Carter Properties have dropped by 40% in the past hour. Investors are panicking. The company is dead. I exhale slowly. It's happening. Everything he built on lies and cruelty is falling apart. And for once, there's nothing he can do about it. The fallout spreads. I scroll through the news headlines. The Carter family scandal, infidelity, fraud, and a fall from grace. Ryan Carter exposes his family in shocking live broadcast. Millions watch. SEC investigation into Carter Properties begins. What comes next? I smile to myself. The Carter name used to be a symbol of success, of power. Now, it's synonymous with corruption, deception, and downfall. I glance back at the entrance. Reporters are gathering, their cameras flashing as guests flee the ballroom like rats escaping a sinking ship. I can already imagine the headlines tomorrow. The wedding that destroyed a dynasty. Beautiful. Nathan's rock bottom. Just as I'm about to get into my car, I hear footsteps. Fast, frantic footsteps. I turn, and there he is. Nathan. His tuxedo is disheveled, his hair a mess. His entire body is trembling with rage and desperation. You think this is funny? He spits, his voice raw. I raise an eyebrow. Funny? No. Satisfying. Absolutely. You ruined my life, he snarls. I lean against the car, crossing my arms. Nathan, your life was already a disaster. I just turned on the lights so everyone could see it. His breathing is ragged. His hands shake at his sides. "You don't get it," he whispers. "You don't know what you've done." I tilt my head. "Oh, I think I do," I say. "For the first time, you get to see what it's like to be me. To be the one discarded. The one humiliated. The one they never actually cared about." Nathan swallows hard, his Adam's apple bobbing. "You should have let it go," he mutters. I push off the car, stepping toward him. "Let it go," I repeat. "You spent years tearing me down. You let Mom and Dad use me as your scapegoat while you stood there and enjoyed the praise. You let Olivia cheat on me with you and laugh behind my back." His jaw clenches. "Did you really think I'd let that slide?" I ask, my voice dropping. "Did you really think I'd just take it forever?" He shakes his head, looking at the ground. And for the first time, Nathan Carter looks truly broken. Not the cocky, golden son. Not the arrogant, untouchable heir. Just a man with nothing left. I should feel bad. But I don't. Because he did this to himself. "Goodbye, Nathan," I say, stepping back. And then I get into my car, leaving him standing in the ruins of his own making. The new chapter begins. A week later, I sit in a high-rise office in downtown Manhattan. The view is breathtaking. Skyscrapers stretch across the skyline, the city humming beneath me. But my focus is on the TV screen in the corner. Breaking news. Former real estate tycoon Charles Carter under federal investigation for fraud. I sip my coffee, watching as my father is escorted out of his office in handcuffs. The once untouchable king of real estate, now a disgraced criminal. Nathan? No one has seen him since that night. Rumors say he left the city, disappeared to avoid the shame. And my mother? She's keeping a low profile, hiding from the public eye. As for me, I turn my gaze to the desk in front of me. A new contract sits there. A deal with one of the biggest publishing houses in the country. My second book, an in-depth memoir about my journey, my family, and how I rose from the ashes of their abuse, is already a guaranteed bestseller. I pick up my pen, signing my name at the bottom of the contract. And just like that, I close the chapter on my past and step into my future. A year later, the Barnes & Noble in downtown Manhattan is packed. Hundreds of people stand in line, holding copies of my new book, The Truth We Bury. At the signing table, I greet each reader, signing their books, shaking their hands. Many of them share their own stories of surviving emotional abuse, of finding strength in my journey. And for the first time in my life, I know I have purpose. I am not the failure my family tried to make me believe I was. I am stronger than them, better than them. And as I sign the last book, I write the same words I always do. Your voice has power. Don't be silent anymore. And this time, I finally believe it. It's been a year since I destroyed the Carter Empire. A year since I stood in that ballroom and watched everything they built collapse under the weight of their own deception. A year since I turned my pain into power, my humiliation into vindication. A year since I won. And yet, standing here now, in front of a packed bookstore in Manhattan, I realize something. This isn't just about winning. It never was. It's about something bigger. Something greater than revenge. Something greater than me. It's about every single person who has ever been told they are nothing. And tonight, my final message isn't just for my family. It's for all of them. The book signing event, Barnes & Noble, is overflowing. People stand shoulder to shoulder, holding copies of my book, The Truth We Bury, waiting for their turn to meet me. The energy in the room is electric. Excited. Empowered. Because this isn't just a book signing. It's a movement. I sit at a table near the front of the store, a massive banner with my face hanging behind me. I never imagined I'd be here. That people would actually care about my story. That I would become someone worth listening to. And yet, here I am. Signing books. Taking pictures. Hearing their stories. Because, as it turns out, my story isn't just mine. It belongs to every person who has ever been dismissed, ridiculed, and broken by the people who were supposed to love them. And now, we are all breaking free. Together. A familiar face in the crowd. I flip open another book, pen hovering over the first page. "What's your name?" I ask. The woman in front of me shifts nervously, her hands gripping the hard cover like it's a lifeline. "Amanda," she says softly. I smile. "Nice to meet you, Amanda." Her eyes shine with unshed tears. "I just wanted to say, your book changed my life," she whispers. "I left an abusive home because of your story. I finally had the courage to walk away." A lump forms in my throat. This is why I did it. Not for revenge. Not for fame. But for this, for people like Amanda, for the ones who needed a voice when they had none. I squeeze her hand gently before handing her the signed book. Your voice matters, I tell her. Never let anyone silence you again. She nods, tears slipping down her cheeks as she walks away. And then, just as I reach for the next book, I see her. A woman standing at the very back of the line. Her clothes are simple, jeans, a sweater, no jewelry, no makeup. Her once flawless, expensive appearance is gone. And yet, I know exactly who she is. Because I never forget a ghost from my past. Rebecca Carter. My mother. A conversation we should have had years ago. She doesn't move. She just stands there, eyes locked on mine, hesitation in every line of her posture. I stare back, waiting. I should have expected this. Sooner or later, she was bound to find me. But the difference between then and now, I no longer fear her. I own my story. She no longer has the power to rewrite it. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, she steps forward. The people in line glance at her, whispering, murmuring. They know who she is. They know what she did. But she doesn't acknowledge them. She only looks at me. Ryan, she says, voice barely above a whisper. I don't respond right away. Because, honestly, I don't know what she wants. An apology? Forgiveness? Or just one last chance to manipulate me? She clears her throat. I read your book, she continues. Every word of it. I raise an eyebrow. That must have been difficult for you. She flinches. Good. Because reading about the pain she caused is nowhere near as difficult as living it. She shifts uncomfortably. I wanted to come sooner. But I wasn't sure if you'd even speak to me. I lean back in my chair, crossing my arms. Well, here I am. I say. Speak. The bookstore is dead silent. All eyes are on us. She hesitates again before exhaling sharply. I was wrong, she says finally. The words are shaky, foreign, like she's never actually had to say them before. But I don't let her off that easily. Wrong about what? I press. She swallows. About you. About everything. I let your father dictate how I treated you. I let Nathan become the priority. I told myself it was just the way things had to be. I tilt my head. The way things had to be. I repeat. You mean choosing to humiliate me at every opportunity? Turning your back when I needed you? Laughing at my pain. She closes her eyes briefly. I was weak, she whispers. And I was a coward. For the first time in my life, I see something I never thought I would. Guilt. Real, raw guilt. And yet, I don't know if it's enough. I don't know if it ever could be. The power shift. She looks at me again. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, she says quietly. But I wanted to tell you that I'm trying. Trying. She nods. I left your father, she admits. I started therapy. I moved to a small town outside the city. No more high society. No more pretending. Just me. I study her carefully. This isn't the same Rebecca Carter who sat at that wedding a year ago, sipping wine while I was humiliated. This is a woman who has lost everything. And yet, the question remains, is it enough? I take a deep breath. I don't know if I can forgive you, I admit. She nods, as if she already expected that. But, I continue. I hope, for your sake, you keep trying to be better. A flicker of something crosses her face. Hope. She nods again. I will. And with that, she turns and leaves. No grand reconciliation. No perfect ending. Just two people acknowledging the damage and choosing to walk separate paths. And that's enough for me. The final words. As the night comes to a close, I sign the last book and stand, stretching. It's been a long journey. A painful one. But I made it. I broke free. And now, as I look out at the people who have found strength in my story, I realize something. This was never just about me. It was about every single person who has ever felt small, unworthy, unseen. And now, we see each other. I take one last deep breath, lift my pen, and sign the final book of the night. The same words I always write. The words I live by now. Your voice has power. Don't be silent anymore. Because I never will be again.